Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, entrepreneurs from across the 54 African countries. My name is Adora Okolie, and I work as the Entrepreneurship Programs Executive with the Tony Elumelu Foundation. With me on the call is Coco Rollins, our French translator. We are familiar with him. So he'll be supporting me taking today's session on get familiar with finance and investing. We are honored to have Peter Ashadi, who is the Group CEO of United Capital PLC, as our facilitator. So I'll just give a brief bio of Peter Ashadi, then we can take on from there. Peter is a distinguished corporate executive renowned for his expertise in execution, business transformation, organizational strategy, and leadership. With an illustrious career spanning 34 years in Nigeria's financial sector, including over 2 decades as chief executive of leading financial institutions in Nigeria. Peter has a mastery of global money and capital markets. He has participated in numerous notable market transactions across all segments and has pioneered innovative products that have transformed the investor experience. Peter has been the Group Chief Executive Officer of United Capital PLC since July 2018. Before joining United Capital PLC, he served as Managing Director, CEO of Africa Prudential PLC, formerly UBA Registrars Limited, where he led the team to notable achievements. Under his leadership, the organization became the only investor services firm listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The company also developed the first share portal, the first USSD product in the Nigerian capital market, and the first web-based registrar operating software in the Nigerian capital market. So, dearest participants, listen attentively and keep your notepad and pen handy, as we'll be learning a lot from today's session and you don't want to miss out. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you, Mr. Peter Ashadi, for supporting to facilitate this session. Thank you so much, sir. Coco, you can take on from here.
OK, thank you. Bonjour et bienvenue une fois de plus à cette session de Masterclass où nous allons nous entretenir avec vous sur le thème de se familiariser avec la finance et l'investissement. Notre facilitateur de ce jour, c'est M. Peter Ashade. Peter Ashade, c'est un baobab dans le monde financier au Nigeria, vu qu'il a été directeur général de United Capital, c'est l'une des entreprises du groupe Holding. Il a aussi, avant cela, été directeur général de Prudential. Prudential est une entreprise qui fait dans l'introduction des entreprises en bourse et dans la finance dans les bourses. Donc, il a environ 34 ans d'expérience et il est assez habitué à tout ce qui est marché boursier et a été parmi les personnes qui ont mis en place un ensemble d'ingénierie financière favorable à l'éclosion des entreprises en bourse. Donc, sans plus tarder, nous allons passer la parole à M. Ashade. Je suis Roland Foucault, votre facilitateur francophone. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Foucault. Well, good day, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to be a faculty member on this very important TEF entrepreneurship program. Foucault.
Bienvenue, chers participants. Je suis Peter Ashade et je suis ravi de participer à ce programme phare de la Fondation Tony Elumelu et de vous entretenir sur tout ce qui est finance. Merci. Over to you.
Thank you. So today we'll be looking at getting familiar. Finance play a very key role in the going concern of any entrepreneur or any business, as it were. So today we'll be looking at the import of finance, the structure around finance, how finance can help to cascade your business to the high level. And taking the table of contents to address that, we'll be looking at introduction, understanding finance for entrepreneurs, source of funding for startups, investment fundamental for entrepreneurs, and finally conclusion. I hope we'll be able to close this within a couple of 30 minutes as we take through.
Donc, aujourd'hui, nous allons, comme on l'a annoncé, vous entretenir sur tout ce qui est finance d'entreprise. Et à cet effet, au menu, nous aurons une petite introduction avant de permettre à vous, entrepreneurs, de bien comprendre ce que c'est que la finance. Ensuite, en troisième position, on verra quelles sont les sources de financement pour les startups. Et après, on verra quelques fondamentaux de l'investissement qu'un entrepreneur doit comprendre. Et puis, on bouclera par une conclusion. On espère que on aura fini ce point en 45 minutes afin de pouvoir permettre les questions et les réponses.
Next slide. Next. So, I'm starting in terms of intro to look at the objective of the key objective that's set for this session. And for me, from the assessment of how I want you to take it, so we'll be looking at critical six key areas that at the end of the day, you can tick the boxes in these areas, how far we have been able to go. And the first one is we want how to foster financial literacy. Second one, to equip participants with investment knowledge. I know for some of us, we already used to some things, but then we'll go a little deeper. And whereas if there are questions at the end of the day, we can always address that. Explore financial options, cultivate risk management skills, inspire entrepreneurial success, and encourage lifelong learning. Foucault.
Donc, les objectifs de cette session de masterclass vont être simples et nous allons vous permettre de pouvoir cocher minimum 6 cases à la fin de cette session, comme par exemple, est-ce que vous comprenez mieux la littérature de la finance? Est-ce que vous êtes suffisamment équipé pour avoir des connaissances en termes d'investissement? On va aussi vous aider à mieux comprendre le monde de la finance et les différentes options, avoir une culture et surtout des compétences en management des risques, surtout vous inspirer pour nos success stories et enfin vous encourager à avoir un apprentissage de long terme et une bonne attitude d'apprentissage dans le monde de la finance.
Next. So we'll be starting with the importance of financial literacy to entrepreneurs. And here I have that financial literacy is the cornerstone of entrepreneurial success. And why? Because it serves as a guiding light in the journey of building and growing a business. It's not sufficient that you have a business idea. It's a concept, but how do you birth the idea? Even after birthing the idea, how do you take it to the next level? How do you make your business a going concern? We have some businesses in Europe that has operated for more than 150 decades, more than 100 decades. In most African countries, we don't see this. And you know, a step, someone said a step of 1,000 miles, a journey of 1,000 miles start with a step. So, you know, the step in the right direction as into growing your business, understanding the financial concept to equip you with the relevant knowledge and skill that is needed for sound financial decision. I know what you require to run a business is far beyond finance. However, finance play a critical role in the success of a business, especially your ability to manage the resources effectively and drive sustainable growth. And in that light, we'll be looking at how to assess funding opportunities, negotiating favorable terms. So the question is that where are these, funding opportunities? How do you locate them? How do you align with them? How do you match those opportunities to your need? And that, again, is very critical. The second one is accessing financial health and identifying improvement areas. So the financial health of every organization, at the end of the day, you'll be given a grant. And if you already have a grant, the position is, yes, how do you manage something to ensure the little, you can grow little drops of water, make a mighty ocean. You can grow the little that you have, and in no distance time, you continue to grow, increase the wealth of the organization or your business. So that speaks to the financial wealth. The next level, it talks about developing accurate forecast and budgeting. One critical thing I want you to learn today, a success of a business, I know, just like I said earlier, yes, not only on finance, but one of the critical points is data gathering. Data gathering is very, very important. If you don't gather accurate and reliable data, it affects your decision making. And this data gathering even affects the accuracy of financial forecast and budgeting. We're going to look at this one after the other. And lastly, we look at navigating complex financial landscape. Yes, as you grow your businesses, you get to a particular level that you will definitely find some complexity, challenges, as it were, to move from one level to another. How do you navigate it? And this enables you to ensure that when you come to that point, you will have been fortified and your confidence level will have been built such that you can cross it effortlessly. Foucault.
Donc, nous allons donc commencer par l'importance de l'éducation financière pour un entrepreneur. Vous devez comprendre que l'éducation financière est un point important pour le succès en entrepreneuriat. Et dans votre parcours, il est important de bâtir votre entreprise. Et pour cela, il y a des concepts que vous devez très bien comprendre. Donc, on va vous les expliquer un peu étape par étape. La première étape, par exemple, c'est de permettre aux entrepreneurs d'avoir accès aux opportunités de financement et de savoir surtout négocier les termes d'un contrat de financement. Donc ça, c'est important pour vous lorsque vous avez en face des investisseurs ou des prêteurs. Donc, le deuxième niveau, c'est de vous permettre de pouvoir accéder à la santé financière parce que lorsque vous êtes financé, il est important pour vous de pouvoir identifier quels sont vos pôles d'amélioration afin de pouvoir bien gérer les finances qu'on vous a données. Et pour cela, vous devez avoir une très bonne santé financière. Le troisième niveau, c'est de pouvoir développer des projections financières et de savoir faire des budgets qui vont vous guider dans le développement de votre entreprise afin d'avoir une bonne maîtrise de tout ce qui est aspect financier au sein de votre entreprise. Et le dernier niveau de ce que nous vous expliquons actuellement, c'est de pouvoir naviguer dans des termes complexes de la finance afin de pouvoir peut-être sortir des scénarios et des hypothèses complexes qui vous donnent la confiance nécessaire pour pouvoir manager vos relations avec les financiers. Over to you.
Thank you. Next. So now we'll be looking at understanding the financing for different financing structure as we will look at the basic finance. How do you, I have here that there are a variety of different reasons why it is important to understand small businesses in terms of their financial basics. So what we have presented here is assumption of zero knowledge. And we're taking it from the grassroots and the lowest key to understand. You may have been hearing some of these keywords and does not really make meaning to you. So that is why we have gone to the basics and take it one after the other and as it affects your business to educate you on the foundation of business finance. And this, help you to grow your skill in operating, your business as into when you hear this word, you know how it relates to your business. And here we talk about basic finance. So what do we have here? You have assets. Under assets, these are things that you're going to have. You have assets, equity, revenue, expenses, and profits. But when you look at it, if I take it one after the other, you take assets. Under assets, you have, these are resources that is owned, by the company, that is taking care of today for the economic benefit of the business for today and the future. Under the asset, and when you look at the assets of any business, you can talk about your inventory, your equipment, your investment, your cash. And under asset, we have current assets and fixed assets. The ones that are current assets are the ones that are used for daily activities. So we talk about cash and cash equivalents. Your daily activity, you engage in cash or transfer, payment for your inventory, payment for some of your raw materials, payment, your salaries, and all that you engage. Those forms under current assets. Whereas the fixed assets are things of a tangible nature that you can identify with, you can see, like motor cars, trucks, your building, your equipment, and other machineries falls under fixed assets. Foco.
OK, pour ce qui est de la compréhension des termes simples de la finance, nous vous permettons, à travers ce que nous expliquons maintenant, de comprendre ces mots que régulièrement on met à votre disposition, comme par exemple les actifs, comme par exemple les fonds propres, comme les revenus, les dépenses et le profit. Donc, vous devez comprendre que les actifs, c'est tout simplement l'ensemble des ressources qui vous appartiennent, c'est-à-dire qui appartiennent aux propriétaires de l'entreprise. Et en actifs, on a par exemple les actifs immobilisés ou actifs fixes et les actifs circulants. Les actifs circulants, vous avez par exemple les stocks, vous avez les créances auprès des clients et ainsi de suite. Dans les equity, vous avez maintenant ce qui sont les fonds propres. Vous avez tout ce qui est argent mis par les propriétaires de l'entreprise en dehors des dettes qui ont été prises sur le long terme. Donc, je m'arrête là-bas. Over to you.
So I'll quickly take all of that in session so that I'll be able to manage our time. I acknowledge that we still have, our time is quite ticking very fast. So the next one talks about equity. Equity is your own contribution to the business. And in financial sector of any country, it is the thinking is always that when you have the skin in the game, you manage it better. Why? Because you don't want to lose your own investment in the business. So when you talk about equity, that is the value, what you are bringing to bear. Like for instance, now you can have a $1 million business value, and your contribution as the owner is like 10% of that. 10% of that. So it is your. So that talks about equity. We talk about revenue. Revenue is just the income generated after production, or after you render services, people will pay you. These are revenue that generated from either the sales or services that you're going to get, while expenses relates to activity that is involved in generating those incomes. So before you generating the income, what has gone into it? For instance, now you want to produce. Under expenses, you have direct and you have indirect. If you are in manufacturing, there are some expenses that are directly proportional to your production. In that, you take into consideration in cost of that product. So those activities that is involved in generating income, you want to render services, part of your transportation cost from one point to another will still be calculated as expenses that is involved. and the rent, the salaries, utility, advertisement, and all that. These are part of the expenses that you sell. And finally, we talk about profits. Profit, you arrive profit when you net off expenses from revenue. So if you have a revenue, for instance, now you have offered and you have generated a revenue of $10, and you have an expense of $5, definitely your profit will be $5. Or revenue of $10, expense of $3, you're going to end up having a profit of $7. So it's a difference between expense and revenue. The reason why the knowledge of this is important, maybe you have been hearing this. So you don't come up with your profitability without the understanding of all the factors. These are critical factors that work together to determine the profitability of your business, albeit small or large, as the case may be. Coco.
Oui, après avoir expliqué les actifs et les fonds propres, nous allons maintenant voir la notion de revenu. Donc ici, c'est tout simplement l'ensemble des recettes générées par votre activité à la suite de la production des biens et des services. Pour ce qui est des dépenses, tout sont en fait toutes les charges que vous avez au sein de votre entreprise et généralement, on distingue les charges variables et les charges fixes. Donc, dans ces charges-là, vous avez par exemple les frais d'électricité, vous avez les salaires, vous avez les matières premières, bref, tout ce qui vous permet d'avoir les produits. C'est ça qu'on va appeler charges. Et il faudrait aussi noter qu'il y a des charges non décaissables, comme par exemple les amortissements. Pour finir, on a le profit qui est simplement la différence qui est faite entre tout ce qui est revenu et tout ce qui est charge. Et ces profits, c'est quelque chose que vous devez bien maîtriser parce que c'est lorsque l'entreprise fait des profits qu'elle est rentable. Over to you.
Next. Again, talk about the importance of financial statements. So having known the critical basic financial information that we talk about, the asset, the revenue, the expense, the profitability, as the case. So it's important for us to see the next one here. We talked about the importance of financial statements. Also, when we talk about financial statement, what are we looking at? You have the balance sheets, and in your balance sheet, you know, I talked about assets the other time. We have assets, we have liabilities. So in your balance sheet, you want to have your assets, you want to have your undercurrent assets, you want to have your balance sheet provides snapshot of current financial position of the company. So where are you at a specific date? Maybe at the end of the year. Your end of the year does not have to be 31st of December. It could be March, and then it could be May. It could be any month. You know, provided the rule across your countries. We have, you know, different rule across different jurisdictions applies. So you can have something, but the balance sheet is a snapshot at a particular date. Whereas we have income statement also, which summarizes all the company performance. So we have different revenue, expenditure, and all that. That will be able to take us into activities that happen within, again, a particular period of time that determine, are you even making profit? Because you are selling different items, you are rendering different services. At the end of the day, you want to say, are you making any profit? The income statement will be able to provide that spotlight. Whereas the cash flow statement is different from income statement. Why? The cash flow statement will underpin the movement of cash, whether inflow or outflow, both cash and cash equivalents. So the cash flow will say, so it's possible for you to have a profit of $200. Whereas in cash, you only have $50. So the other are in non-cash. So the cash flow statement will help you to monitor your cash and how you can assess liquidity and affect it, and how it affects your growth. Foucault.
Donc, les prochains thèmes que nous allons expliquer ce sont les états financiers. Donc, on va principalement s'appesantir sur 3 états financiers. Le premier état financier, c'est le bilan. Le bilan, c'est simplement ce tableau, cet état financier qui vous donne une image de la valeur de votre entreprise. Et généralement, nous avons d'un côté les actifs et de l'autre côté le passif. Donc, et vous devez toujours vous arranger que l'actif et le passif soient vraiment égaux. C'est ça qui vous permet de savoir que votre bilan a été bien réalisé. Et le bilan se fait toujours à la fin d'une certaine période en fonction des lois comptables de votre pays ou de votre région. Donc, le prochain état, c'est l'état de compte et profit, qu'on appelle encore le compte de résultat. C'est en fait cet état qui vous permet de savoir si vous avez fait des bénéfices ou si vous avez fait des pertes. Donc, c'est un récapitulatif de tout ce qui est revenu et de tout ce qui est charge. C'est ça qui permet de voir la profitabilité de votre entreprise et de savoir si l'entreprise génère des revenus ou est rentable, c'est-à-dire génère du profit au fil des années. Le dernier état, c'est l'état de trésorerie, ou encore appelé cash flow ou capacité au financement. Donc, vous devez savoir qu'il est possible que vous fassiez des bénéfices, par exemple, de 200 millions, mais qu'au niveau de votre trésorerie, à un moment donné, vous ayez peut-être 100 000 francs dans la caisse ou 100 000 francs dans le compte bancaire. C'est une façon de dire que l'état de trésorerie, c'est cet état qui vous permet de savoir si vous allez honorer à vos engagements. Donc, pour cela, vous devez opposer toutes les rentrées d'argent de toutes les sorties d'argent avant de savoir si vous avez une bonne ou une mauvaise trésorerie. Over to you.
Yes, next. Next slide. It's okay. So this slide, we'll be looking at budgeting. You know, at the initial point, I talk about budgeting. So we'll be looking at budgeting, as it were. So we have different types of techniques of budgeting and forecasting. As an entrepreneur, resources are often limited. You don't have access to all the resources you have, even as an individual. And again, at the early stage of your business, you want to, even across, you need to do that to ensure that you are financially prudent and you can project your revenue, your cost, and the activity of your business to be able to, derive how it works out to give you achieving your goals. And here I've presented 3 techniques of budgeting. The first one talks about zero-based, the second one top-down, the third one bottom-up, and it's simple. For zero-based budgeting, it means you will assume nothing has happened in the previous year. So if you are starting 2024, you assume nothing happened in 2023. You start 2024 afresh. Even though your business has been in operation for 5 years, every year will be a new year, and you don't link up to something. At every year, you start at ground zero to accumulate your income, your expenses, and how you achieve that. The second one talks about top-down. The top-down says that you set your target at the center, and this is our financial target, as it were, and you are now allocate the resources across the department. So it comes from top down. So it is at the center that you agree on this is what you must do, this is everything. Then you now be saying this department must do A, this department must do B, this department must do C. By the time you add A, B, C together, it must equate what's at the center. The third one talks about bottom up. On the issue of the bottom up, it means you will involve in gathering input from various departments this time around, various departments. So you get input from each one of them. Department A, give us your input. Department B, give us your input. Department C, give us your input. It is the aggregation of these that will determine your budget. And usually budget is always for 12 calendar months. However, in some cases, you can do it for 6, depending on what you want to do. But for businesses, I don't know what operates in your jurisdiction. For most businesses, when you talk about budgeting, they budget for full year, which is always 12 calendar months. However, even though you have 12 calendar months, you cannot break it down into quarters and into monthly for proper monitoring of deviation and corrective action. Welcome.
OK. Pour ce qui concerne les budgets et les projections, nous allons mettre au devant essentiellement 3 techniques que vous devez bien maîtriser. La première technique, c'est le budget base zéro. Ça veut dire quoi? Ça veut dire que quel que soit le nombre d'années de votre entreprise, quel que soit le niveau d'activité que vous avez eu préalablement, les années antérieures, vous partez toujours de zéro. Ça veut dire que quand on commence l'année, il n'y a pas de recettes, il n'y a pas de dépenses, et c'est progressivement, partant de zéro, que vous essayez de bâtir tout ce qui va se passer pendant l'année. C'est une façon de faire qui marche très bien. La deuxième façon de faire, la deuxième technique, c'est du haut vers le bas. Ça voudrait dire quoi? Ça voudrait dire que ce sont les dirigeants qui mettent en place toute la budgétisation en déterminant exactement département par département, quels sont les montants que vous devez dépenser, quelles sont les recettes que vous devez avoir. Donc, le management fixe tous ces budgets-là et transpose cela aux différents départements. La dernière technique, c'est du haut vers le bas. Donc, ici, il est question que chaque département fasse sa projection, fasse son budget et puisse transmettre ce budget-là au staff, donc au management, afin que le management puisse agréger tous les budgets et on aura le budget global de l'entreprise. Donc, quelle que soit la façon de budgétiser, ça peut se faire, généralement, c'est sur 12 mois. Autant on peut faire les budgets uniquement sur 6 mois ou bien même de façon trimestrielle, ça va dépendre de vous. Merci. Over to you.
Next, we'll try to fasten things because I could see our time is ticking, so that we'll be able to create enough time for question, as it were. So we'll be looking at sources of funding for startup next. So be rest assured that the presentation will be made available, and you have my email address and the contact of the Adora, the program coordinator. You can always send questions thereafter on areas that you still need more clarification, so that we'll be able to manage our time. So looking at the source of funding for startup, recall I said earlier, we are assuming zero knowledge. So we are starting from basics as far as it's concerned. And one of the critical challenges faced by entrepreneurs is securing necessary funding, and as it were, to fuel their, concepts or the venture, to support their growth and to succeed. Whether you are launching startups, scaling your business, seeking funding for new projects, understanding the funding source is very, very important. Again, this funding sources for startup, it depends on where you are within the ecosystem of your business growth, as it were. Even though we mentioned startups here, but it could be, an existing company that's going, but you are interjecting at a particular point in time. I know some of your businesses are already, in operation for more than 1, 2, 3 years, depending. So we have here bootstrapping, debt financing, equity financing, crowdfunding, angels investor, grants, and subsidies. Each one of them has, as you have there, has the effect and what it really meant. Like bootstrapping now talks about using your personal savings. You could have some personal savings that you want to, or you have something that you sell some of your properties, get all those monies, and you'll be able to put it in there. While debt financing, that loan from bank for other financial institutions, equity, raising capital, either selling shares. So you are asking that, yes, you already you want some people to bring in money into that. While crowdfunding is leveraging on online, you see some people, they'll come online and say, yes, my business, so if you bring X dollars, we'll give you X return on it. This is the growth of our business. Just, you can aggregate where we did our business, you advertise your business and you give opportunity for people to come. They raise funds for you, you invest it, return back their principal and their investment. We have angel investors, these are venture capital. They can bring in funds for a particular period of time, after which they will sell their investment either to you or to any third party. The final one talks about grant, which aligns with what Tony Elumelu Foundation is trying to do here. Give you grants that is not repayable, but you can use that to start your vision or improve or grow your existing business. Coco.
Donc, pour ce qui concerne les sources de financement des startups, vous devez savoir que quand on lance un projet, il est important de pouvoir trouver le financement. À ce moment-là, nous allons vous partager quelques techniques de financement ou quelques sources de financement. On a par exemple le bootstrapping, on a l'endettement, on a l'ouverture de capital, on a le crowdfunding, donc le financement participatif. On a le business angel qu'on appelle généralement les anges des affaires ou des capitaux risqueurs. Et pour finir, nous avons des subventions. Le bootstrapping, c'est tout simplement le fait pour vous de mettre votre propre argent pour faire tourner votre entreprise. Donc, les revenus que vous avez, vous les remettez dans votre entreprise ou vous vendez certains de vos biens pour pouvoir vous en sortir. L'emprunt, c'est tout simplement le fait de se diriger vers les banques ou d'autres entreprises qui font dans la finance. Au niveau de l'ouverture de capital, c'est une façon de vendre vos actions et d'avoir des personnes qui vont rentrer dans votre entreprise comme actionnaires ou associés et ils contribuent au fonds propre de l'entreprise. Pour ce qui est le crowdfunding, c'est ce qu'on appelle le financement participatif. C'est tout simplement le fait d'aller vers un certain nombre de personnes, de montrer la rentabilité de votre entreprise et d'utiliser certaines plateformes pour pouvoir accéder au public qui a de l'argent à mettre dans votre entreprise. Les business angels, c'est en fait ces personnes qui sont comme des anges, des personnes qui mettent de l'argent dans votre entreprise parce que ça leur va tout droit au cœur, parce qu'ils ont été impressionnés par votre façon de faire. On a aussi les capitaux risqueurs qui sont des personnes, lorsqu'ils entendent parler de votre projet, ça les inspire et ils mettent de l'argent dans votre entreprise en espérant revendre leur part plus tard et pouvoir faire bien sûr un certain bénéfice. Pour finir, on a les subventions ou les aides qu'on peut avoir de certaines organisations. À l'exemple de la Fondation Tony Elumelu, c'est de l'argent qu'on vous donne et cet argent n'est pas remboursable. Over to you.
Thank you. Can we go to slide? Let's just, because of our time, let's go to slide 18. Because time is not on our side. So let's just move to slide 18. So we can always look at all these so that we'll be able to manage our time. No. No. Yes, let's go to slide 15. Oh, yes, 15, 16. So let's just quickly take that. So here we look at type of investment and that it is essential that entrepreneurs carefully assess and prioritize their investment decision. Very, very important, because in managing your business, you take investment decision, especially at the infancy, at every time, based on your goal, the market condition, available resources. So continuously you take investment decisions, and you must take investment decision, the right investment decision at the right time to achieve the desired goal or objectives. And you should not forget the fact that you operate in a very dynamic environment. Things keep changing. Things keep changing. And in that environment, and there is nothing you can do. You don't have total control of your economy or your market. So when things change, you need to take decision. Price change, government policies change, and all this. And this, while all these type of investment can contribute to your business growth, the optimal mix, you can, have optimal mix of this is depending on the nature of your business, the industry dynamics that you find yourself, and the entrepreneurial vision. That's your vision, the long-term vision. And when you look at this type of investment, you look at either you want to invest in research and development, maybe you want to go into new products, and so you need to invest in. So do you have anybody that is doing it globally? How is it being done? What is different with something? The other area is the marketing. You already have an existing business. How do you market it? So which model, how do you promote it? How to build a brand, create awareness around it? You talk about acquisition, and strategic acquisition could change the face of your business. So you can either grow organically or inorganically. So you now look at, can you acquire a new, and you can do either forward or backward integration, depending on where you lie in the scheme of things. And this acquisition can even provide you access to something. Infrastructure, in terms of investing in infrastructure, that refers to, to build some upgrades as far as that's going to support. And this again work across all businesses, but more importantly, when talking about fintech business or manufacturing, production related, you can invest in infrastructure, maybe buying a very big equipment, very, very important, or setting up your back end structure that's going to support your operations. Again, investment option that talks about either stocks, bond, mutual fund, real estate, or alternative investment. Poco.
Donc, ce support va vous être remis et on a dû sauter quelques slides pour parler essentiellement des différents types d'investissements. Donc, vous devez savoir que lorsqu'on est à la tête d'une entreprise, quel que soit le nombre d'années, il y a des choix à faire ou bien des investissements à opérer, comme par exemple dans la recherche et le développement. Donc, vous devez savoir que il est important pour vous d'investir parce que c'est ça qui permet d'entretenir l'innovation et surtout de donner une place de choix à votre entreprise ou à vos produits sur le marché. On peut aussi avoir à investir dans les aspects marketing afin de faire mieux connaître le produit ou bien de pouvoir avoir de nouveaux clients ou de nouveaux consommateurs. Ça peut aussi être dans des acquisitions de nouveaux talents, de nouvelles technologies ou d'investissements qui permettent à l'entreprise de passer à un autre cap. Les investissements peuvent aussi être de lourds investissements en termes de technologie, de construction de bâtiments et surtout bref, des ressources qui permettent à l'entreprise de passer véritablement à un autre cap. Certains de ces ressources ou bien certains de ces investissements souvent sont faits par des États. Donc, pour finir, il y a par exemple certaines options d'investissement comme les actions, les obligations, des fonds mutuels, des sociétés immobilières ou tout autre investissement alternatif où on peut vouloir bien mettre ses excédents de trésorerie. Over to you.
Next. This slide talks about key consideration for entrepreneur when investing. So you now want to invest. Yes. So what we are looking at here is that even though we are talking about understanding financial and investing, so we need to look at what do you consider. So you want to go into, so what do you consider? You have $10 and you need like $9 to buy equipment. So the question is that should you go in to buy that equipment? If you buy that equipment as $9, you have only $1 left. So how do you manage the $1? You are not just buying the equipment because you want to sell it. You want to buy the equipment for production. Will the last $1 with you be sufficient to buy the materials for production? So you must consider some when investing, so that at the end of the day, the bottom line is that you are not investing because you want to satisfy anybody. You are investing to satisfy yourself, and investing to satisfy the objective of that business. You must be careful to manage the investment portfolio, your investment, to achieve the financial security amidst, a lot of uncertainty, which I talk about, that you are not in control of a lot of things within your operating environment. And when you look at what are those considerations, liquidity need, tax implication, investment implication, cash management, tax planning, and diversification. Each one of these, you have details that I wrote under that you can go into. How do you manage your liquidity need? I'm very sure in every of our jurisdiction, there is tax implication. What's the tax implication of this decision on me? Investment implication, determine, is it the right time to take this decision? Should I need to wait? Like some of us that were in agric business, you want to know at what point in time should I be preparing? At what point in time should I plant? It's about, implication for this is something. So at what point in time will harvesting come in? At what point in time should I stock to be able to take advantage of the price, hike that will happen? All these things, help you to meet your financial goal. Cash management. Cash is king. In business, cash is king. So you must be able to, how do you manage your cash? We'll talk about cash earlier on. How do you manage to ensure that you have balancing investing in return and liquidity? Because as a running business, you must be liquid for you to continue. Tax planning, how do you want to be tax efficient? And when you look at diversification, building a diversified investment portfolio to spread the risk. Foco.
Donc, dans tous les cas, il y a quelques considérations clés qu'un entrepreneur doit avoir lorsqu'il veut investir. Parce que on n'a toujours pas les ressources nécessaires ou les fonds nécessaires pour pouvoir investir. À ce moment, il y a des arbitrages à faire pour avoir un bon portefeuille en termes d'investissement. Ces éléments clés, c'est quoi? C'est par exemple le besoin en liquidité, c'est l'implication fiscale de l'investissement qu'on veut faire, c'est l'implication même de cet investissement, ou bien c'est la gestion de la trésorerie, la planification fiscale et la diversification. Donc, ici, il est question pour vous de comprendre que, par exemple, quand vous achetez un véhicule, ça implique forcément le paiement d'un certain nombre de taxes, comme le taxe de stationnement, comme le taxe à l'essieu, et ainsi de suite. Donc, pour vous, avant d'investir, vous devez arbitrer et voir quelles sont ces implications dans l'avenir de votre entreprise. Au niveau, par exemple, de l'implication de l'investissement, vous devez savoir quels sont les revenus générés par le nouvel investissement et voir s'il est plus important pour vous d'acheter des actions ou bien de procéder à cet investissement-là. Au niveau de la diversification, il est aussi important pour vous de savoir à quel moment augmenter les activités de votre entreprise et voir quelle est l'implication que cela a au niveau de la gestion de la trésorerie de votre entreprise. Donc, voilà quelques considérations générales dont vous devez tenir compte. Les détails, vous les aurez dans le support qu'on va vous transmettre. Thank you.
Thank you. We have your risk management strategy. I will not bug you on this because a lot in terms of something, but generally what it's talking about is that when you talk about finance, there is a rule in financial management that says the higher the risk, the higher the return. So how do you get a higher return while managing your risk? Number one. Number two, can you totally take care of all the risk in your business or businesses? No. So, but what you do to still continue to be in business is to mitigate the risk, reduce it to the barest minimum, because you have risk exposure across line. So what we have provided here is risk mitigant, strategies to ensure that rather than being exposed to 100%, can you reduce it to 10 or 20 to be able to manage it? Because in any case, most of the businesses that you have, without incurring a risk, you cannot make profit. So you cannot, because it's a channel that you must pass through to start making money. So these are the risks. We have diversification, asset allocation, risk assessment, stress testing, hedging, monitoring, and review. Foco.
Oui, nous n'allons pas être longs sur ce point, c'est-à-dire la gestion, les stratégies de gestion de risque. Mais ce qui est sûr et que vous devez noter, c'est que plus vous prenez des risques, plus une activité est rentable. Ça, c'est la règle en termes d'investissement. Plus on prend des risques, plus c'est rentable. Donc, à ce moment-là, vous devez considérer tous les points qu'on a mis. Ça peut être la diversification, ça peut être l'allocation des des ressources, des actifs. Ça peut être votre niveau de stress que vous devez tester. Ça peut être la gestion des risques proprement dit ou bien le suivi et évaluation de toutes les activités que vous faites. Donc, il est important pour vous d'avoir des stratégies de gestion des risques, c'est-à-dire comment faire pour atténuer les différents risques, comment faire pour ne pas se prendre la tête lorsqu'on investit. Over to you.
Then next, conclusion, next slide. So key takeaway from this session, very simple. By understanding finance and investing, entrepreneur can navigate the complex financial landscape. Simple. So that, you know, when you navigate the complex financial landscape, it will enable you to achieve your long-term objective. Mind you, this discourse is being predicated on the fact that your mindset going into this business is not for short term, it's for long term. So you have your long-term objective and the mindset, the long-term objective that your business will still be operational until on infinity, you know. So that how do we do that? And in summary, we have the understanding of fundamental of financial concepts, which is crucial for informed decision making. I talked about the import of data and all that. Diverse funding sources that offer opportunity to fuel entrepreneurs' ventures. Effective risk management and asset allocation are essential. And doing that, strategic investment selection and the ongoing portfolio monitoring and critical long-term thing. And the next step is to apply the knowledge. So that's four out of these three takeaway is basically from my side. And whereas the last one is the next step, which is apply the knowledge gain to make a sound financial decision in personal and entrepreneurial endeavors, as it were. Foco.
Donc, pour conclure, on va retenir deux ou trois choses. Donc, ce qui est important de retenir, c'est que le monde de la finance est certes assez complexe, mais à travers ce masterclass, on espère que vous avez compris deux ou trois choses qui vont vous permettre d'atteindre vos objectifs sur le long terme. Donc, on va retenir que la compréhension des fondamentaux et des concepts est cruciale pour pouvoir prendre des décisions. On va aussi retenir qu'il faut diversifier ses sources de financement et de pouvoir surtout savoir capturer les opportunités qui s'offrent à vous en tant qu'entrepreneur. Il faut aussi avoir une bonne gestion des risques qui soit efficace et essentielle pour pouvoir réussir vos investissements. Aussi, vous devez avoir des stratégies de gestion de portefeuille, surtout savoir les suivre pour la gestion critique du long terme de votre croissance, donc de votre croissance à long terme. Et enfin, la prochaine étape pour vous, pas pour nous, c'est de pouvoir être confiant et d'avoir de bons comportements en termes d'entrepreneur pour pouvoir faire des décisions financières personnelles intéressantes pour la croissance de votre entreprise. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for
Thank
that
you.
insightful session. We had a really interesting session. The entrepreneurs have been dropping comments and questions as well. So I'll take two comments, then move straight into the questions I got from the YouTube page, the comments box on the YouTube page. So Justice Kwesi said, Mr. Peter Achade, you are good. I like your presentation. Hello Ratal said, cash is the lifeblood of your business. It lubricates your company's operations and keeps everything flowing smoothly. So I'll go straight into the question. Olanipeku Matthew stated, please sir, kindly clarify balanced budget, deficit budget, and surplus budget. What type of budget from these three is suitable for a startup business? Top tech tutors. Is it advisable for startup to take on debt the first day of starting out in business? Then Susanna gave an argumentative answer. She said, I believe startups should avoid debt and go for equity and grants instead, especially those whose operation is capital intensive. Coco, please translate, then Mr. Peter Shade can take on from there.
Ok, oui. Nous avons eu quelques commentaires que les gens ont eu à faire. Il y a même eu des questions qui ont été posées. Et puis, il y a toujours entre entrepreneurs, certains de vous ont répondu. Il y a par exemple l'une des réponses qui est que je n'encourage pas, ça c'est ce que dit l'entrepreneur dans le chat box, qu'il n'encourage pas qu'un start-upper puisse s'endetter. Il faut plus aller dans l'ouverture de capital, dans l'equity, qui est plus à même à pouvoir vous aider à gérer votre entreprise au départ, surtout les risques que prennent les personnes qui investissent dans le capital. Donc, globalement, ce que cet entrepreneur propose, c'est que les startups doivent éviter les dettes, mais plus mettre au devant l'ouverture de capital.
It's okay. So thank you so much. So in terms of, I think I'll take the question again one after the other. You help me drive that. So you have types of budget, balanced budget. So so when you talk about budgeting, you know, just like I said the other time, you are looking at both your income and expenditure. When you talk about balanced budget, and I will use some analytical to support it. Balanced budget is where you say you want a revenue of $10 and you want an expenditure of $10. The balanced net of 10 goes. So deficit budget is a situation whereby you want to spend $10 or your revenue is $5. So where do we get the difference? So it's deficit because you do not have enough to meet that. The next one is surplus. Whereas you are intending, you projected a revenue of $10 and you are projecting an expense of $7. So you have a surplus of $3. I think that answered that. So it's clear to that. Adora, remind me the next question. So let me allow Foko to just run through that. So
Foko, you're muted.
Ok, oui. L'une des questions qui a été posée, c'est tout simplement une meilleure compréhension de ce que c'est que la balance. Donc, la balance, en fait, peut être équilibrée. Non, le budget, pardon. Le budget peut être un budget équilibré, comme par exemple, on veut avoir une recette de 10 francs et on a des dépenses de 10 francs. Là, le budget est équilibré en termes de recettes et de dépenses. La deuxième option, c'est que le budget peut être déficitaire. Budget déficitaire, ça voudrait dire quoi? Ça voudrait dire que nous voudrons faire des balances de 10 francs, mais nous n'avons en recette que 5 francs. Où est-ce qu'on prend cette différence? C'est ça le problème. Ou bien on peut avoir un budget qui est excédentaire. Ça voudrait dire quoi? Ça voudrait dire que nous avons des dépenses de 5 francs, alors qu'en termes de recettes, nous avons une recette de 10 francs. Donc voilà les trois états budgétaires qu'on peut avoir: un budget équilibré, un budget excédentaire et un budget déficitaire. Over to you.
So, Adora, quickly.
Okay.
Just one more.
Okay, the second question is it advisable for startups to take on debt for the first year of starting out in business? Susanna mentioned that I believe startups should avoid debt and go for equity and grants instead, especially those whose operation is capital intensive.
It's okay. So thank you so much, Susanna. So the question is it advisable to start with debt? So it depends on what you have. So you have an intention, or you have a concept, you have a business concept, and you don't have access to a grant. You don't have access to equity. You only have access to debt. If you really still want to continue, you have to. However, again, that speaks to risk. So ability, it is not in all cases that you start your business with equity, where you have opportunity. So in ranking, so maybe I take that, in ranking, grant, great. You take that. Second, you can say equity, if it's available. But if it's not available and you believe in this concept, because when you talk about debt, debt is, even you collect some fund from your friend, it's still a debt. It does not have to be in the bank. If you collect money from it, because it's not your resources, you are collecting from a third party. Because the concept of a debt could be from looking at it from the angle of a bank. It does not have to be a bank. Apart from equity, a grant, that is the money given to you to go, and equity, that is your money. The third one that will be available will be for you to either borrow, either from your parents, borrow from your friends, borrow from your siblings, borrow from your associates, or that. So yes, can you do that? Yes. If you believe in your business goal and you have a clear understanding, you must know. And just like I said the other time, is it about finance? No, it's not 100% about finance, but it's 100% about the business concept. Do you have a clear business concept that you know that this will work? The same way you could fail if you start your business with a grant, it's the same way you can fail if you start with a, what's it called? An equity, and also even if it's a debt. So the same thing is about financial finance support that you have from different angles. So that a debt does not mean that you cannot start with a debt. It depends on the angle you're looking at it, Foucault.
Oui, l'autre question sur laquelle je suis un peu revenu tout à l'heure, c'est la question de savoir que est-ce qu'une startup doit démarrer son activité avec la dette ou bien avec les fonds propres, c'est-à-dire l'ouverture de capital. Donc, M. Achade nous rappelle qu'en fait, c'est toujours une question de risque, en fait. Donc, c'est une question de risque. Parce que vous devez bien comprendre que la dette, ce n'est pas uniquement lorsqu'on prend l'argent à la banque. Ça peut aussi être quand on prend l'argent à des amis, à des parents. Bref, on est endetté ou on s'endette quand l'argent vient d'une tierce partie, quand ce n'est pas notre propre argent. Alors que quand c'est l'equity, c'est un peu comme votre propre argent. Donc, vous devez savoir que c'est une question de risque. Soit vous prenez donc la dette, ça va dépendre de le risque que vous voulez prendre. Soit vous prenez une dette auprès des parents, auprès d'une banque. Soit effectivement, vous faites l'ouverture de capital, c'est-à-dire vous vendez une partie des actions de votre entreprise pour pouvoir avoir des fonds. Et à ce moment-là, l'entreprise ne vous appartient plus seule. Elle appartient autant à vous qu'à l'investisseur ou à la nouvelle personne qui est rentrée dans votre capital. Donc, l'autre alternative, la troisième alternative, comme on vous l'a aussi dit, c'est la subvention ou des dons ou des aides, parce que ce ne sont pas des fonds à rembourser. Donc, voilà globalement comment est-ce qu'on peut répondre à cette question. Est-ce qu'on prend la dette ou est-ce qu'on prend l'ouverture de capital? Ça va dépendre du niveau de risque que vous voulez prendre et du degré de stress que vous avez à gérer. Over to you, Adora.
Okay, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you so much for staying with us for an hour. Remember, everyone, apply the knowledge gained to your personal and entrepreneurial endeavors. We look forward to seeing you at the next masterclass session. So, sir, do you have any parting words for us?
The parting word is, one, you should believe in yourself. You should believe in yourself. Number two, the time is now. I repeat, the time is now. Don't wait for when things will improve. When you ask your parents, when you ask your elderly ones, they will tell you the previous year, even in most of the African countries, is better than the current one. So if you are waiting for the time that things will improve, then you will not take something. Number three, you must be ready to take risk. In fact, in our daily lives, we engage in risk. Leaving your home to your office is a risk because anything could happen. Leaving your home, putting your equipment, a lot of things could happen while you are not around. So you must be a risk taker. However, I talk about there is risk everywhere, but you must be able to take calculated and well pre-informed risk with appropriate mitigant that will enable you to achieve your long-term objective. And number four, you must be ready to face challenges. Very critical. You must be ready to face challenges. That you have the funding, that you have the financial knowledge does not mean that you're going to, because challenges will come because you operate in a dynamic environment. Government policy could affect your business. Regulatory policies could affect your business that you never planned for. They will come overnight, but that is not sufficient for you to change. And that was why I started with the number one is you must believe in yourself. You must believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself, even when you face challenges, that challenge or challenges is not sufficient to stop you, because the driving force is yourself. And finally, you must be passionate on what you believe in. Very, very important. Be passionate about it. Others may not believe you. When you believe in yourself, support you with a passion. What you have passion for, out of every 10 successful business today, 5, 6, 7, that the entrepreneur shows passion. It's not about money. It's not about finance. It's not about structure. It's about passion, because that passion will be the driving force in the face of risk, in the face of challenges that will take you to your El Dorado. On this note, I want to say thank you so much for having me this afternoon. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Donc, comme mot de fin, M. Achadé partage avec nous 5 clés. La première clé, il dit il faut croire en soi. Vous devez croire en vous en tant qu'entrepreneur. C'est très important pour la suite, vous allez comprendre pourquoi. La deuxième chose, vous devez commencer maintenant. Ne procrastinez pas. Quand vous pensez à quelque chose, allez-y, lancez-vous tout de suite. La troisième chose, c'est vous devez vous apprêter à prendre des risques. Un entrepreneur, c'est un preneur de risques. Dès lors que vous sortez de chez vous, dès lors que vous marchez, vous avez pris des risques. Par contre, il faut savoir comment faire pour atténuer ces risques-là. Ce n'est pas question d'avoir peur des risques, non. C'est de savoir les prendre et avoir des astuces pour savoir atténuer ces risques. La quatrième chose à faire, c'est d'être prêt pour les défis. Parce qu'effectivement, on vous a dit de croire en vous. Mais ça ne veut pas dire qu'il n'y aura pas de challenge, ça ne veut pas dire qu'il n'y aura pas de défis. Parce que vous croyez en vous, vous devez être à même d'avoir suffisamment de force pour pouvoir affronter les difficultés qu'il y a au quotidien lorsqu'on est entrepreneur. Et la dernière chose, c'est d'être passionné. Parce que quand vous êtes passionné, quel que soit ce qu'il arrive, au moins vous trouvez du plaisir à manager votre entreprise. Merci encore une fois de plus et vivement à la prochaine session de Masterclass.
Thank you.
Okay, bye everyone. See you at the next
Bye.
Masterclass session.